Hey Goblin, you've been really practicing those war drums.
I'll bring the generic Goblin noise!
This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMudsta to get you 5% off anything on the site. You can also use the promo code MTGMudsta for 5% off your orders from Face to Face Games, Canada's largest Magic the Gathering store, with qualified orders getting free shipping Canada-wide. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin gang. Hey gang, I just wanted to let you know that for the next month, I've teamed up with the awesome crew over at cardtrader.com. What is CardTrader, you're asking? It's an online marketplace where individuals and stores around the world can list their cards for sale. Chances are if you're looking for it, they've got it. With an easy to navigate and user-friendly web space, you'll be able to find what you need in no time. Plus, they offer an amazing service called CardTrader Zero, which makes getting your cards from various countries even simpler. For example, I can order a breeding pool from Italy, a dark ritual from Finland, and a reanimate from the UK. They're all then sent to a central hub nearest you for only a small fee, packaged all together, and then shipped your way in one easy shipment. They've also got an optimized shopper to help you find the best possible prices on the card you want. Simply put, if you want to save yourself a headache, use CardTrader. It lets you support local game stores across Europe, save on cards, and save on shipping. If you're interested in checking it out, be sure to sign up with my referral code shown here and in the video description below. Hey gang, and welcome back. We've got another Kessel Run Games game coming at you, with Dominic playing Toshiro Umezawa. He keeps 3 Swamps, Dark Petition, Infernal Grasp, Liliana's Triumph, and a Terrain Generator. New to the channel is Cole playing Multani, keeping Crop Sigil, Forest, Gilded Goose, Solemn Simulacrum, Tranquil Thicket, Terminal Moraine, and a Drownyard Temple. Dylan is playing Melek, keeping an Island, Chaos Warp, Brainstorm, Saheeli Sublime Artificer, Wildfire Devils, Mountain, and Temple of the False God. Drew is back rocking her Tiamat deck, keeping a Swamp, Elysian Kyritid, Negate, Island, Fist of Suns, Swamp, and Evolving Wilds. Dom wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a Swamp. Cole plays a Forest return and casts a Crop Sigil. Dylan draws and plays an Island. He then casts Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back, and then passes to Drew. Drew draws and plays and cracks an Evolving Wilds, going to find a Forest, and she passes. Dom plays a Swamp and just passes. Cole mills 1 and then draws. He plays a Tranquil Thicket, which comes in tapped, and casts a Gilded Goose, making a food token as it comes in. Dylan draws and plays a Mountain and passes. Drew draws, plays a Swamp, and casts her Elysian Kyritid. Once that's done, she passes to Dom. Dom draws and plays a Terrain Generator. He holds up his mana to hopefully ramp a little bit and put out a basic, and passes. Cole mills 1 and draws. He plays a Terminal Moraine, and then sacrifices his food token to the Goose to help cast Solemn Simulacrum. This goes and grabs him another Forest, and he passes to Dylan. Dylan draws, plays a Mountain, and passes. Drew draws and plays an Island. She then passes, and on her end step, Dom activates his Terrain Generator to put out a Swamp. Dom draws, and then plays an Urborg as his land for turn. He taps 4 mana to cast a Cryptghast, and then casts a Wayfarer's Bauble, paying to extort for the 1 with the extra mana. This has everyone losing 1, and Dom gaining 3. Cole mills a Feed the Pack, and draws. He plays a Drownyard Temple as his land for turn, and then casts a Reach of Branches, making a 2/5 Treefolk token. Moving to combat, he swings the Sad Robot at Dom for 2, who takes the hit, and Cole passes. Dylan draws and has to play a very sad Temple of the False God, and passes to Drew. Drew draws and plays a Gruul Turf, bouncing a Swamp back to her hand and passing back to Dom. Dom plays a War Room in his main phase, and then casts his commander, Toshiro Umezawa, using some of his extra mana to extort the table again. After that, Dom just keeps his mana up and passes to Cole. Cole mills his 1 and draws. He then casts Eudora Grave Gardener and passes to Dylan. Dylan draws and plays an island. He follows up with the Wildfire Devils, and then casts Brainstorm from his graveyard off the random trigger, and then passes turn. Drew plays a Nomad Outpost in her main phase, which comes in tapped, and passes through her phases. On her end step, Dom cracks the Wayfarer's Bauble to go and find a land, and at the same time, activates his War Room to draw a card and lose 1. Dom draws and plays a Swamp. He then plays a Dark Petition and extorts it. He goes to find a card and passes to Cole. Cole mills his 1 and draws. He plays a Forest and returns Reach of Branches to his hand from it, and then casts a Phythotitan. In combat, he swings Eudora at Dylan for 5, who takes the hit, and after that, Cole passes. On Dylan's upkeep, the Wildfire Devils cast Dark Petition for free from his trigger. He goes and tutors for a card, and then draws and plays an island for turn. He then casts a Melek, revealing a Highland Lake off the top, and passes to Drew. Drew draws her turn, and replays her Swamp. She then drops a Dragon Master Outcast, and follows up with a Thunderbreak Regent. Once she's done, she passes through her phases, and once more, Dom activates War Room again on her end step, drawing a card and losing 1. Dom draws and plays a Swamp. He casts an Extorted Magus of the Coffers, draining the table again for 1 and gaining 3. He then passes turn with a ton of mana. Cole mills 1 and draws. He then plays a Krosan Restorer and an Ulenwald Tracker, and goes to combat. The Phytotitan goes at Dom, and Dom responds by destroying it with Infernal Grasp. This has Dom losing 2 life. After that, Cole passes, and on his end step, Dom casts a Cling to Dust on his own Infernal Grasp to prevent the Wildfire Devils from hitting it. On Dylan's upkeep, the Wildfire Devils hits Dom's graveyard, and he casts the Cling, exiling Drew's Evolving Wilds. He then draws his normal card for turn, and casts Will Kenrith, going to find his sister from his library. Dylan then upticks Will on Magus of the Coffers and Cryptghast, and Dom responds with Add on the Stack by casting Liliana's Triumph. Drew isn't so keen on this though, and counters it with a negate. After that, Dylan plays a Highland Lake, which comes in tapped, and passes. Dom decides to use his floating mana at this point to activate the War Room, losing 1 and drawing 1. Drew draws and plays a Swamp. She casts Tiamat, and then passes as she tutors for 4 dragons. She finds a Dragonlord Silumgar, Old Gnawbone, Morophon, and Lathlis. Dom draws and plays a Myriad Landscape, which comes in tapped. He plays an Aetherflux Reservoir, and follows up with a Solemn Simulacrum, gaining 2 life, and then grabbing a land as it comes into play. After that, he passes turn, and on his end step, Cole makes a food token. Cole mills his 1 and draws. He plays a Sylvok Replica, and activates the Krosan Restorer to untap 3 lands. He then has enough mana to cast Multani, and passes. Dylan hits Dom's graveyard again with the Wildfire Devils, and this time casts Liliana's Triumph, with Dom and Cole sacrificing their Solemns, while Drew decides to sacrifice Tiamat. Dylan then casts a Soul Ring, and downticks Will to draw 2 cards, and reduce the cost of his spells, which lets him play a Jaya Ballard, and then he upticks her for mana, basically making her almost free. He then plays a Saheeli Sublime Artisan, and casts Chaos Warp, copying it with Increasing Vengeance, and hitting the Aetherflux Reservoir and Eudora. Dom and Cole shuffle these cards in, and reveal a Force of Despair and Seasons Past, respectively, and Dylan finishes things up by casting Heuristic Study before passing to Drew. Drew makes a Dragon token on her upkeep from the Outcast, and draws. She then plays a Dragon's Horde, and follows up with Lathlis before passing to Dom. Dom draws, and cracks his Myriad Landscape, going to find 2 swamps. He then passes to Cole. Cole's turn has him casting his earlier revealed Seasons Past, bringing back Woodfall Primus, Skyshroud Claim, Feed the Pack, and Harrow. He then plays a Myriad Landscape which comes in tapped, and untaps it with a Kessel Run Restorer to help cast a Scry Shroud Claim. This has Cole going to grab 2 forest cards, and then moving to combat. He swings Multani at Drew, and the Fio Titan to Dylan. Dylan chumps with a Servo token, and Drew soaks up 5 of the damage with a Dragon token, still taking 6 from Multani. After that, Cole passes turn. Dylan hits himself with the Wildfire Devils, and casts Chaos Warp, targeting Multani. This has Cole flipping a forest off the top and putting it into play, and Dylan then goes to draw. Dylan then downticks Will once more, and plays a mountain for turn, and casts Ral Zarek, and then Rowan Kenrith. He upticks Rowan, targeting Dom, and uses Ral to untap the Temple of the False God, and taps himself, and casts a Commander Sphere. He then upticks Jaya to discard a card and draw a card, and once he's done that, passes turn. Drew makes another Dragon token and draws. She casts a Dragonlord Silumgar and goes to grab the Magus of the Coffers, but Dom responds by activating Terrain Generator to put out a swamp, and then casts Defile targeting Silumgar, extorting it, but losing 3 to the Thunderbreak Regent trigger. This all then resolves, and Drew then removes a counter from her Dragon's Hoard to draw a card, and casts a Minion of the Mighty, and passes to Dom. Dom draws for turn, and activates his Magus of the Coffers for 15 black mana, using 3 of it to activate War Room, and loses 1 life to draw a card. He gets very lucky, as he taps out to cast an Exsanguinate, where X is 36. Dylan sacrifices his Commander Sphere to see if he has a response on top, but sadly hits nothing, and the table gets drained to death. Game review time. So once more, Big Mana did it, and Dom got super lucky drawing that Exsanguinate off his last War Room. Up until that point, I think he was still flying under the radar since everyone else was attacking each other, but he started to use a lot of removal in those last couple of turns, and paint a big target on himself. Dylan's Melek deck is still just his Will and Rowan deck, but he says he prefers to play Melek as the commander since it gets less hate, which I find kind of strange. Typically if I sit down across from a Melek deck, I'm usually going to assume that they're playing Storm and have to deal with them first. Drew once more unfortunately didn't draw into some of her early ramp, and as a result, those expensive dragons only came out late game. That being said, she was amassing a pretty sweet board of them, it just was unfortunate that she wasn't able to attack with any of them. I was actually pretty surprised with how interesting and versatile that Crop Sigil was in Cole's Multani deck, and he had some interesting inclusions that I thought were kind of fun, like the Kessel Run Restorer. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.